Hey everybody, in this video I want to go over the life-saving Strand spell in Black Myth Wukong. So you unlock this once you start your very first playthrough of New Game Plus. And originally I kind of overlooked this spell for a while in favor of using a Pluck of Many with the Unified Minds Relic. However, now honestly I think this is probably the most powerful spell in the game, especially once you start adding some items to build around it, which I'll share. So I'm currently in my 5th cycle of the game, and I honestly think this type of build is almost required at this point. So I'll share what I've been using to make this really useful, especially once you get into those higher tiered New Game Plus playthroughs. Starting off, just kind of quickly going through the base functionality of how the spell works before we get into the build. So as the name implies, if you have this equipped and you're fighting and you die, it'll automatically kick in and resurrect you for a second life. It doesn't take any mana to use, as you can see on the right. It's just on a cooldown timer. So after 600 seconds, if you survive that second life, it'll refresh then. However, if you fully die, so if you die on that second life and you go back to a Keeper Shrine, then it'll automatically refresh then as well. You definitely want to make sure that you also have the full tech tree upgraded, as this is going to give you some powerful benefits, and I'm going to enhance that even further with some additional items in the build as well. So I'll demonstrate all of this, but just kind of quickly going through them. This first one will reduce that cooldown timer. This one will give you 3 gourds when you resurrect. This one will recover some mana when you resurrect. And then finally, this one is pretty powerful as well. It's kind of a random chance, but if you use the life-saving Strand, there's a chance that it's not going to count as a use. So there are potential cases where you'll get resurrected twice. And then finally, there's also a relic ability that you want to make sure that you have active for this spell, which is under the Freed Mind category, and that's the Unbegotten Undying. So this doesn't necessarily make you invincible, you'll still lose health, but you essentially can't die for like 20 seconds after you get resurrected, and it also gives you a significant damage bonus as well for a little bit. Moving on to our equipment, so we're going to add a couple things here that are going to enhance the abilities of this spell quite a bit, primarily coming from our drink and soaks. So for the gourd, I'm using the Supreme Gourd. However, you can change this up if you want. Every once in a while, I put on the Immortal Blessing Gourd just to increase my attack power if I want to do more of a high damage type build. And then for my drink, I'm using the Sunset of the Nine Skies to help regenerate chi. It also gives me 3 soak slots. However, if you want to do a more mana focused build, you could also use the Jade Essence, which is going to replace the chi regeneration with mana. However, you do lose one of those soak spots. And for the soaks, the most important one is going to be this Guanyin's Willow Leaf. So this makes the life-saving Strand spell super powerful. The way this works, if you have this equipped and you get resurrected, your entire gourd is going to get replenished. So hypothetically, let's say you're using the Supreme Gourd, you use all 10 usages, you die, you get resurrected, you're going to get 10 more usages. So with that sort of free potential use on the tree upgrade, let's say you die a second time, you could potentially have 30 gourd usages in one fight. So this is super powerful. And then to add on to that, I'm also using the Bee Mountain Stone. So this is going to potentially give us even more gourd usages, as when you have this equipped, if you consume your gourd, there's a chance that it's not going to count, so you get some free uses out of that. And then finally, I'm using the Turtle Tier. When at full health, if you use your gourd, it's going to replenish your mana instead. So because we have all these gourd usages, there are times where at full health, I'm still just kind of chugging my gourd to replenish mana, which can come in handy quite a bit during some fights. And then finally, kind of the last main piece of the puzzle to this build is to use the Azure Dome transformation, which is the Stone Monkey. So he will actually also use the life-saving Strand spell. So if he dies while you're fighting with him, he'll get resurrected too. So you basically get 2 uses of that transformation. Alright, so now taking a look at some in-game examples of how the spell works, as well as the build that I put together. So starting off, this is just kind of showing the base functionality of the spell with the full tree upgrade and what you get. So here you can see I'm running up, I take some damage, lose all my health, and the spell itself is going to kick in automatically. You can see its icon in the bottom right corner there. So with just the full tree upgrade, what you're going to get, as you can see, I revive for my second life. You get full health, you get a little bit of your mana back, and then you get 3 gourd usages. So there's that aspect, and then there's also this feature too, where you can see the little heart icon under the stamina bar. So you'll still lose health, but you can't die essentially. So you can see I'm taking hits, but I'm not dying. Once that heart icon goes away, then unless you heal, you'll die. So that's kind of a nice feature as well. And then also for a time, you get a damage bonus. So you can see before I die, I have a 3% damage bonus. And then I'll go back into the game, take some damage, die, revive with my life-saving Strand. And you can see for a time, as we look at our stats now, that increases to 33%. So that lasts a little bit longer than the little heart icon. It's about 30 seconds, so you'll also get a nice damage bonus there as well. And then finally, taking a look at the final upgrade of the tech tree, where you can potentially get a free usage of the spell. So here you can see, again, I take a death. The life-saving Strand spell is going to kick in. However, if you watch the icon in the bottom right corner there, it's not going to get used. So you can see there it kicks on again. So basically, I can die and then use it again for a third life. And then you'll notice here on the second resurrection, your gourd and mana is still going to replenish after that. So with the soak that I'm going to show here next that we went over in the build, that will fully replenish your gourd. So that's 10 gourd usages. So potentially, as mentioned, that's up to 30 gourd usages that you could get. So it's kind of crazy for resource generation if you get lucky with that second use. Now taking a look at some other examples with the actual build that I put together. So kind of the same process here. I'm just going to run up and take a death. However, because I have the soak equipped now, you'll notice that once that life-saving strand spell kicks in, rather than just getting 3 gourd usages back, if you take a look here, that entire gourd is going to get replenished. So I'm using the Supreme Gourd, so that's 10 new usages with that gourd. And then also looking at the 9 tiers drink and turtle tier soak that we added as well. So kind of tying everything together here. You can get really strategic with your resource generation once you kind of figure out how this all interacts with each other. The main thing is you want to make sure, if you can, use your entire gourd before that spell kicks in to revive you. Otherwise, you'll just kind of miss out on that free refill. But you can see here, pretty much no health, obviously. My mana's pretty much completely gone. My chi is completely gone for both my spirit and my vessel. So there I get full health. I get some mana back on the revive. Use Cloud Step to run away. Use a little bit of mana there. But then I'm going to start drinking my gourd to refill mana, refill chi. And I basically went from nothing to more than half of my mana back and all of my chi back for both my spirit and my vessel. So again, kind of situational, but it can be really powerful once you kind of get the hang of this for resource generation. And then finally wrapping things up, the last major aspect of this build is to make sure you're using the Azure Dome transformation. As you can see, he also gets the life-saving strand spell, which is pretty crazy. So if his health depletes, he'll use that and revive for a second life too. So you can go obviously use him, attack like normal. However, there are a couple ways you can take advantage of this. The main one being that if your might is about to run out and you haven't used that life-saving strand spell yet, to essentially try and take a death on purpose. As you'll use that spell, you'll get revived, and you'll also get some additional benefits. You'll get full health, and then if you take a look at the might as well here in a second, that is going to get replenished a little bit as well. And then you're also going to get 4 focus points for that heavy charged attack. So again, you don't want your might to run out without using that spell. So if you run into that case, just try and take a death and get those benefits. So I'll leave it at that. Again, I think this is the most powerful spell in the game in my opinion after using it for a while, and this build helps enhance that. So if you are getting into maybe your 4th or 5th New Game Plus, trying to climb up those higher tier cycles and struggling, this has helped me out quite a bit. So give it a try, let me know if it works, and thanks for watching.